Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom. Let's discuss what Ajna Chakra or Ajna GYAN Chakra, the seventh chakra associated with pituitary gland. It is also associated with brain nervous system. Let's start with the reincarnation. To reach this level of consciousness automatically from childhood, you must have done a lot of work in your previous life. When you are born with this, you carry the imprint and you start from higher chakras automatically. Now, the first thing which I always talk about is Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga, Karma Yoga. If it is based on dharma, earth, karma, kam, moksha, you get all what you want in life, otherwise not at all possible. The strength of the mind action is what leads you to lesser knowledge, gyan, vigyan, pragyan, akhandata and thereafter. The second thing which is most important, all the human beings, Lokpalan, guardian custodians, are created by divine nature. So devotion for divine nature which has made the human beings so perfect that we can be in tune with universal consciousness. The designer who designed us to be with that, we should have a devotion for that person, and that is Bhakti Yoga. And we can take any godly figure in the path. And I have chosen Mata Vaishno Devi, which is incarnation of Goddess Durga, which represents Goddess Saraswati, Goddess Lakshmi, Goddess Parvati, and also being the consort of Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh and Trikuta mountain. That way I feel very privileged to have chosen Trikuta and Mata Vaishno Devi as my divine mother and go on to do things the way I want it. Now come to the question of coming to the state subject of Tantra Vidya, which is the ancient Indian wisdom of perfect human anatomy, perfect physiology, perfect biochemistry and perfect psychology. All the four perfectioni are seen only in Tantra Vidya, is not seen by anything on the whole. Veds give you the beautiful anatomy, atom, elements, molecules, compounds, cells, tissues, tissue organisms and human beings as such with all the divinities. Ved. Upanishads give you the applied part of Ved beautifully. But when it comes to the question of perfect anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology with the divine mathematics, it is only Tantra Vidya. And it was realized much later, and the first book which is known is Satchakra Nirupana. And that talks of 6 chakras, which is with the reptilian brain, and I talk about 10 chakras, which is with the perfect human body with endocrine autonomic nervous system. Now we are talking of only endocrine and autonomic nervous system and centralized thing with subtle and gross form both. Then comes the Kundalini is the Antaratma, the divine soul, which is helium-4, which comes from the sun, which is within the human body, which makes us realize the beauty of all the centers and chakras within us. Unless until we have the experience within ourselves, only then we can make a difference to life through diet control and actions and thoughts which make us custodians as such. Now the chakras move clockwise and anti-clockwise for all the action, and each circle go on like that opposite this way. And there are 10.344 chakras in the center, and there are 108 minor chakras. We are going to talk about it as we move on. Then come to the first chakra is Muladhara, which is there in the pelvic region, which is associated with smell and the nose, and it is where both chains of the sympathetic system, left vertebral and right vertebral, meet at the bottom in ganglia and empire, and that is designed according to Divyank alone. And Kundalini sleeps there, and in that particular process we can have the experience of dreams to see what we had done earlier or what is going to happen. Quite a lot of those things are revealed in dream form itself in Muladhara. Then Kundalini rising from Muladhara, breaking the Brahma Granthi and grabbing Brahma Nadi, which is the central canal in the spinal cord, and then rising to the ventricles of the brain, give you the internal consciousness completely. That is what Akhand Yoga is all about. Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga to Dasang of Akhand Yoga gives you the experience when Kundalini moves from Muladhara, breaking Brahma Granthi into Brahma Nadi and then ventricles of the brain. Now come to the second chakra, right, and Muladhara is Swadhisthana chakra. This is where Kundalini goes automatically when we wake up. And this is the center which is with the reproduction. This is where testosterone, estrogen is done. As testosterone converted through amortization, estrogen which rises up. That is what intelligence, intuition is all about. Having a very powerful Swadhisthana gland chakra and having tremendous amount of testosterone to have a perfect muscular body, RBC, oxygen and intelligence comes only from Swadhisthana, and that is what Medhu is called about. And then can go up to the third chakra is Nabhi chakra, which is the third adrenal gland. That is reproduction gland, and this is testes and this is adrenal gland. And it is a center of emergency. Kundalini moves there whenever we have either accident or there is a deficiency, because first layer of adrenal gland produces hormones mineralocorticoid for water, sodium and electrolyte balance. The second one gives you glucose and cortisols. Third give you testosterone, estrogen, and inside you have sympathetic mimetic arm. These are enough to keep you survive come what may. That's it. Then comes to the apana prana is something which is the way things are expelled out from the body, like your fecal matter, urine, menses, etc. But there is Aitri Upanishad which is a part of Rig Veda. It talks about apana, through which expulsion takes place, also through which receiving the diet takes place, and that is something which has never been revealed to anybody else. And I am glad with the divine guidance I could say that apana in Aitri Upanishad is umbilical cord, and the cosmic Purusha Lokpalan which is spoken about is the new fetus being developed for being the perfect for the world. It is not creation of human being automatically, is the message which I am making it very clear. Second thing, fourth in the line is Manipura chakra. This is the fourth chakra below the diaphragm, and it is responsible for digestion, for water, nutrition, electrolyte, vitamin, everything is there. And that gives you the power of ingestion, digestion, conversion, and also liver, gastrointestinal system and pancreas plays a very important role to give you the power which is absolutely essential for sustenance. These are the four things the Kundalini moves automatically. The fifth chakra where Kundalini also goes is Anahata chakra, which takes care of the circulation of all the material to all the bodies. So up to these 5 chakras, things are very clearly done in every person by and large. But Vishnu Granthi is the one which Kundalini moves from, maybe from heart to the higher chakra, or Manipura chakra to the lower chakra, or from Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Nabhi, Manipura or Anahata to higher levels, and that is broken only when Vishnu Granthi moves up. That is movement of energy, and there's where oxygen comes to play a very important role. Then come to the Anahata chakra, associated with cell mediated thymus gland. It gives you the immunity to make sure come what may you should never fall sick. And the objective of this is only to make sure that we are healthy, wealthy, wise and happy. When you have perfectly physically healthy, only then you can make use of your Atma, Antaratma and the universal consciousness. With sick body it's not possible. All the 5 centers are going to make you perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise and happy itself. That's it. Then come to the Vishuddhi chakra, which I call is 6th, not the 5th, and it is the thyroid gland. And upper picture is one from Satchakra Nirupana, another is from Akhand, and third I am talking about is Neelkant. How the Neelkant in the throat is associated with iodine, which can purify and make you give you the heat energy required in come what may be situation. I think as a result, energy level comes up very efficiently there in Vishuddhi Chakra itself. Then come to the question of the one which we are going to discuss today is Ajna Chakra. So far, whatever we have learned is an experience within the body. And now when it comes to Ajna Chakra, this is where GYAN comes up. A GYAN to GYAN, the transformation takes place only Ajna Chakra. That's the reason I have said Ajna GYAN Chakra as such. And that is associated with anterior and posterior pituitary alone. So now you see with endocrine system we are talking about, also brain stem and also the autonomic nervous system. Now let's understand what is written in Satchakra Nirupana. Satchakra Nirupana talks of only two white lotus petals in Ajna Chakra, left and right. And two aksharas are written, Hum and Sham. You can see those pictures very clearly. And the second sound is Om. Now to just revision so that we understand how the beautifully is rising. The first phonetic sound in Muladhara is Lam, Swadhisthana is Vam, Nabhi and Manipura is Ram, Heart or Anhata is Yam, and Vishuddhi is Hum, and here it is Om. That's how you start rising from lower to up. Similarly in Mandukya Upanishad, Akara is with the lower abdomen and legs, Yukara with the chest, Makara with the head. So that is what Om is all about. Akara, Yukara, Makara and Turiya, that sound starts coming right at Mooladhara itself. Then there is a three-cone Itara Lingam. The Antaratma is three sides as you can see very clearly, and that is where Mooladhara and Brahmandra is associated there. The brilliant light effulgence comes up. So again, the first one is a solid element in Mooladhara and associated with smell and nose. The second is water, Jal. Third is Agni. Fourth is Vayu. And here you have energy or Akash Kosh coming up. I think you see slowly, step by step. In the process, the one which makes the difference is Agni. More Agni, more Vayu, more energy. Less Agni, water and Bhumi. That's it. And in this particular thing, this is the sixth according to Satchakra Nirupana. And the presiding goddess is Devi Hakni with the 6 heads, 3 eyes, 6 faces, 6 arms, sitting on lotus. The presiding deity is Param Shiva with Shakti. This is where we have come to very clear Shiva and Shakti are in the pure form in this particular concept. I think that is the most beautiful part in Satchakra Nirupana. That's why in this particular picture you have seen Hum and Sham in the picture which I have made, and the center point instead of this picture round, I have made a picture which is like yin and yang, male and female, Ardhanareshwari, that is Shiva and Shakti together. Now we'll come to see the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, psychology and consciousness and how things work in Ajna Chakra or pituitary gland. This is the location. You can see the hypothalamus on top, and then you have structures, anterior lobe and posterior lobe as two parts. So pituitary has got anterior and posterior, but Shiv and Shakti in the center is also there. So we are going to see the look at the anatomy. Is it only anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary, or there is something more than that which unites both left and right together and gives you the unique work? I think that is going to make a difference, much more clearer to understand autonomic nervous system, endocrine system and psychology and also the spiritual part of it. Now look at this particular picture. It's a defined electronic picture. You can see the hypothalamus on top. We are going to talk about it, the next chakra or Vigyan chakra. Forget about the upper part. Lower part, you have one side, left side, you got adenohypophysis or endocrine gland. That is made of 3 parts, pars tuberalis, pars intermedia, pars distalis. That means first part, second part and third part. and then you have part nervosa on the back side. First is endocrine, another is only nervous, but in between you have infundibulum. That infundibulum is what has got more the processes of male and female as such, and that is where the Shakti is. That's what you're going to see in this particular process very clearly. And these three things really expand it out and understand how things are going to work out very well as we move on. Now let's discuss what the three aspects of the pituitary. Anterior pituitary is the part which is in front. That is that is got endocrine gland as such, and it can produce adenocorticotropic hormone ACTH and growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and follicular stimulant. They are all stimulating hormones. They are not procreative, they are not the hormones. They are stimulating, they are going to work. And now for the what is going to come, the releasing hormones come from hypothalamus, which is GYAN chakra, but they come to anterior pituitary as a hormone to produce ACTH, growth hormone, prolactin, thyroid stimulating, luteinizing, and folic. And these are the things which are stimulating, going to do the work later. But of course, growth hormone and prolactin are as such hormones, whereas ACTH is stimulating, thyroid is stimulating, luteinizing, and follicular are stimulating. Intermediate lobe is rudimentary in humans, but it is there. But it produces pro-opiomelanocortin and melanocyte, which stimulating hormones. These are the things which give you the color, white and black, and that is the color is there. And it is also the something which releases ACTH and other things at a later date. We need to understand, we will give a little more in the next stage when we understand the sequence much more clearly. But then third part is the posterior pituitary. The anterior is hum, posterior is sham, and intermediate is Shiv and Shakti or Ardhanarishwari. And the posterior produces two hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin. And vasopressin is antidiuretic, it has an effect on blood pressure, and oxytocin is for delivery and very pleasing hormone. It does wonderful work for both males and females, and particularly in female is very predominant. Now come to the question. No direct neural connection between the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary is not a neural connection. It is only hormones which are created in hypothalamus. They come to posterior through a particular portal system, which I am going to talk much more in detail in the next one in GYAN chakra. Vascular connections are present, glandular tissue is present. It is called adenohypophysis, means it is gland. Hypophysis is below and underneath. It synthesizes, releases several hormones. This is what anterior pituitary only. It is anterior pituitary. Connection with hypothalamus is the most distinct. This also makes a connection between hypothalamus and anterior pituitary is one which is vascular in nature. I think that stands out. Second thing, it is divided into three parts. Pars distalis, which is the last part, then intermedia, and tuberous is elongated secretory portion which surrounds the neural stalk. And I think this I have already shown. Once these three are understood, I think you know how exactly we are going to see different hormones appearing as such and role they play. Now let's talk of the different hormones which are there produced in hypothalamus as well as pituitary by and large. Let me start with the hypothalamic releasing factor, which is corticotrophic releasing hormone CRH, and also vasopressin and other peptides. Then you have a thyroid stimulating hormone produced in pituitary, and similarly ACTH is produced in pituitary. Growth releasing hormone from hypothalamus and growth hormone from pituitary. Prolactin releasing from hypothalamus and prolactin from this. Luteinizing releasing hormone from hypothalamus and this from pituitary. Luteinizing hormone releasing hormone from hypothalamus and follicle stimulating hormone. So you have ACTH, you have TCH, growth, prolactin, and luteinizing in that. And as far as growth is concerned, and these are concerned, we are going to see those effects which are there going very well. But at the same time, hyper-inhibitory factors are also there. Growth hormone inhibitory factor is also released, and this also makes a difference. Both growth releasing inhibition and stimulation is there, and so is the prolactin. But other hormones, there are no inhibitory factors. So this is the two things which comes out, releasing factor, which I would say also comes from hypothalamus. I think that's very clear. But hormone as such is produced of growth hormone and prolactin here only. They don't work in any other organ. Whereas rest of the 1, 2 and 3, and the last two, first two and last two are the one which produce hormones in further issues. And anyway, we're going to see it much more clearly in the next one on GYAN Chakra. Now you can see this is anterior pituitary is producing growth hormone which goes and acts on bones growth. Though height and length and width person depends upon growth, and this is a hormone which continues to work till the last date. Is very clear. Even after death, you can still have the hair and limbs coming up even after death. And that is also something which I have shown. The people who go to Kailash, in the nails and growth grow much faster. Even if they're dead, they would be growing it, and they look much older only because of too much of growth of hair as such. Then second thing is TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, which produces thyroxine T3 and T4 in the lungs, and this is what is responsible for Vishuddhi Chakra and Nilkantha by and large. First one is also with Shiva, this is also with Shiva. Then next thing which comes to the play role very well is ACTH, adenosine trophic hormone, and it goes to adrenal cortex and produces mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, androgens, and also the stimulating hormone adrenaline and noradrenaline is all associated with ACTH, and I make it very clear. Mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, endocrine, and also when they are present, only then sympathetic hormones are produced by adrenal cortex. Without ACTH, adrenal cortex will not work. That's one point. Then come to follicular stimulating and luteinizing hormone. They work on testes and ovaries. And in testes, in ovaries is estrogen and progesterone secretion, and in testes is testosterone. And testosterone is aromatization is converted to estradiol and estrogen and can go up. Now in this, estrogen and progesterone is more of female hormones which give you intelligence, built-in intelligence. But men who have testosterone, good muscles, good RBC, good oxygen, and when to amortize become that, they become multidimensional only because of this. So a higher percentage of testosterone is going to make you fun, but keep it to the normal. Don't let it go much. Both disuse and misuse is problem. Brahmacharya as well as this is a pathetic, so keep within that. I think from that makes it very clear. Then comes to the prolactin. Prolactin is for milk production. Let it be very clear. Prolactin for milk production only. You can see how the milk is produced in the mother, and it can be in males too, but primarily a female part. Then oxytocin from the posterior, you are going to see oxytocin, which is could release the milk and also to release the child after birth. And this is what I said, this is 7th level of nervous system where this endocrine and nerve system put together work to for delivery automatically, whether person is conscious, unconscious, otherwise. I think that makes. Then on top of this ADH, which goes to kidneys, adenosine, and they reabsorb the water to make sure we do not have a urine problem, water problem. Water is retained with that. Thereby, it is also a vasopressin, and water is retained. As a result, blood pressure is maintained. More water, more systolic blood pressure. Normal water, normal blood pressure. I think systolic is with water and diastolic is more by vasoconstriction. And vasoconstriction is primarily because of sympathomimetic hormones with the adrenal itself and also sympathetic system also. Now you see the whole picture is so clear कि what a role it plays. But you have seen in both male and female come to role very clearly. I think that makes it very important part on higher consciousness, and that is where I said Ajna chakra is a GYAN chakra. It gives you the knowledge how ancient Indian wisdom can be experienced through atoms, element, molecules, compounds, cells, otherwise all the information required to understand the human body, male, female, and this and that is there in Ajna chakra itself, and you can see male, female, and comprehension in both of them together. No wonder in Brihad Upanishad, Maharishi Yajval talks about it. He himself created a female out of himself, like an egg, and then life moved on. And I think every male and female have the potential, male and female, within themselves. And the center from which it comes is only pituitary gland, Ajna chakra. That's right, in Sat chakra Nirupana, this is the highest chakra. 6 chakra is here, and the goddess is also 6 heads, and also Shiva with Shakti itself. I think that spoke how beautiful is the ancient wisdom and how modern science can be understood better with this. Now I am going to show you a picture of Vamana avatar. It's a dwarf Brahman, and that is associated with again hypothalamus as well as pituitary. When growth hormone is inhibited right there, to bring it only to this, everything is less, but that does not mean there is a deficiency. That's one thing which I want to make it clear. Hypothalamus less of growth hormone and pituitary less of that. That doesn't matter as long as all the other hormones are well that is Vigyan there. So I make it clear. Dwarfism is not a problem as long as rest of the hormones are normal. That's it. And it's a much more problem. Height has nothing to do with the thing. You can be short and sweet and still be brilliant, and you can be hot and still may not be. So what is important is if this gives you the everything normal, perfect, is much more important. Now coming to the last, I'm not going to talk about it. I think enough for this. We are going to see much more in the next one. And once that is understood, I think that we really understand how a Gyan to Vigyan to Pragyan to Akhandata is moves on based on our knowledge, education, enlightenment comes very, and Kundalini go to higher chakras only because of thoughts, action, otherwise. Niyat achhi hai, niti achhi hai, natije. And the person who's understanding all the 64 arts and sciences, the one who will have the brain completely integrated and be able to produce 8 hertz frequency throughout the brain effectively 24/7, and that is what intelligence is all about. In this I have shown the chakras also very clearly. Anyway, thank you very much.